Okay. We are holding. We are holding now. Four lines from the bottom. 4 lines from the bottom of Daf Kuf Yud Aleph from the base. Tonight we have a full night tonight because after we do the Daf, we are going to have the Chumash here, and it is a very scrumptious Chumash here tonight. Really a delicious Chumash here, if I may say so myself. I had a wild story here tonight. I interrupted my learning, and I came back, and I went back to my learning, and I said, I'll put on my Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. And then I looked at my watch in Satmar, and I saw it was 8 o'clock. I said, I got to go back to Mincha. So I ran back to Mincha, and then I had a shaila whether I should go up from Chazaras Hashatz over here and put on the Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. And I said, you know what? It's Isaac b'mitzvah, patam in a mitzvah. So I didn't put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. Really, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro.
Rabbi, I added Baruch Yin and Beresh Kesser. You're both in.
Excellent. It's really important to have as many people as we can on the Zoom, on the chat, because you see things happen. You're right away going to put on the chat that tomorrow night Shir is at 9. The reason why tomorrow night Shir is a few minutes later is because tomorrow night is my dear Talmud, who has been with me for many, many years and is a very, very big help to me in a lot of areas. Betzalel Klein is making a chasana of a daughter tomorrow night in El Karib. So I'll be broadcasting the shir from El Karib in Brooklyn. So I just want to make sure that the Kabbalah's Panim is 6 and the Chuppah is 7. So I'll definitely be ready, Be'ezus Hashem. It's going to be a pretty much on-time Chuppah and everything. But I just want to make sure, with the setup and everything, I'm leaving myself a few minutes extra. Or if there's going to be a Mariv, so therefore we're calling share for 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So you could already put that on the chat. And because I'm going to be in Jackson for Shabbos by the Bar Mitzvah Shabbos of my Einikel Isaac Schwartz, so we're going to start instead of at 10:40, we're going to start at 10:45 on Motzei Shabbos. And we are now welcoming in over here Yehuda from Yerushalayim as he joins us, and Beresh Gesserman, Irving Fishbaum, Sab Shalom Fogel, Jimmy Klein, I think that's Shimon Deer, Dr. Guy, Dr. Block, Yisrael Fisher, already in Tannersville. Yisrael Fisher is in Tannersville, and now he's ours for the summer. And of course, from then on afterwards, because if he starts Bava Metzia with us, Hamaskal b'mitzvah, Imrim Lo Ligmar, so he'll finish the whole Bava Metzia with us for sure. Shelley Zeitlin, and what's his name? Marshall Castle, Eddie Chazan, Yitzi Fuchs, Aaron Swade, Rabbi Kranz, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Naftali Javelin, Abe Arbach, Ilya Shutman, Yitzi Muller, and Yehuda from Yerushalayim, Moshe Lehman. Here in Shul, Rabbi say we roll out the red carpet of welcome to Baruch Ian, who is here in the flesh. In the flesh, we have the hard acting cement, and he is now here for the duration. Ruvain Shannon, Rich Leonard, Reb Kramer, Gedalia Engel, Avram Rezepkowitz, as we start now this Gemara, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, 4 lines from the bottom, Kuf Yud Aleph from the base. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Hai lo yisalin pula sacher itach ad baiker. Now, remember, we learned out from the words itach to tell us also the behema and kalim, animals and utensils. But he holds that this lav doesn't apply if you rent animals or utensils. So what does he do with itach, my ovidlay? Mibayalay, he uses it like Ravasi, Dam Ravasi, afilu loy scharoy ela liftzo loy eshkol echad shalabonim. Even if I only hire Yisrael, because now that he's in Tannersville, he has time. So even if I hire him just to harvest 1 cluster of grapes, and this means that even if I hire him for a few hours, over mishum bal tolen, because any pu'ula itach, any work, if then he works for me just to harvest 1 cluster of grapes, or just for an hour or 2, and I don't pay him by the end of the day, I'm over the lav. The idach, and the other one, what does he do? How does he know this? Because over this he risks his life. Now it could be that Yisrael agrees to go up on my roof and clean the gutter for a half an hour, but he's climbing up on a very high ladder and he's risking his life. So even if it's for an hour, something that he risks his life for. The idach. And remember, Rich Leonard asked this question yesterday. Reuven Shannon asked, "What's the big deal about wages? The idach ha'uma b'ilei l'kedesanya ve'elev oiseis nafshay." This is very important. This is how he pays his mortgage. This is how he feeds his family. On this, he risks his life. Why does he go on this very high ramp, or suspend himself from the top of a high palm tree, or and he takes chances that he might die? It's because he has to feed his family. So this is a matter of life and death. Another pshat, this comes to tell me a very important thing, that if you don't pay the wages of somebody that you owe money to, you're messing around with your life. Whoever withholds payment of a hired worker, it's as if, so first the Gemara says, you're taking away the other person's life. You're taking away his life. You don't pay a Rebbe? The Rebbe has to eat. You're taking away his life. Now, there's a machlokes, whose life? Rav Huna and Rav Chisda. It's a machlokes, Rav Huna and Rav Chisda. Chad amar nafshay shel gazlan. The person who doesn't pay the worker is playing around with his life. V'chad amar nafshay shel nigzel. You're taking away the life of the one that you're stealing from. Manda amar nafshay shel gazlan. The life of the thief. D'chsiv al tigzel dol ki dolhu. Don't rob a poor person because you can get away with it because he's poor and he has no powerful friends. Val tadake oni b'shar. And don't crush a poor person at the gate. You know why? Because v'ksiv ki Hashem yorav is rivam. Hashem will fight their fight. V'kova es kavei em nefesh. And steal away from those that steal them their life. So you're playing around with your life when you don't pay people. Onandi amanafshi shel nigzel. And the one that says it's the life of the victim, the poor wage earner that's not getting paid, D'chsiv kain orchos kol b'itzeya betza. So is the way of those that rob from people. As nefesh ba'alav yikach. You're taking away the life of the owner. And you don't pay him. You're taking their very life. The person gives his lifeblood to make money. And by the way, that's the reason why tzedakah tatzal nemavos. That's the simplest reason why it's stuck at Tatzim office. Because if I give my money, which I make with hours of my life, and I give that to the poor, that means I'm giving the poor hours of my life. Hashem says, you're giving away your hours of your life, I'll pay you Mida Keneged Mida. I pay 500 to 1. Now, V'idach, says the Gemara, V'idach nami hoksiv es nefesh ba'olav yikach. It says that in the pasuk that when you steal from someone, you're taking his life. So why does he learn it's referring to the life of the Gazlan? Says Gemara, no, ba'olav dahashta. It means that you're costing the life of the new owner. No, it's the one that stole it. The one that stole it, his life will be taken away. And v'idach nami oksiv v'koiva es koveyem nefesh, that the Rabbeinu Shalom will rob from those that rob their life. So there you see it's the nefesh of the Gazlan. So how could they say it's the nefesh of the Nigzal? Says the Gemara, no, matam kamer. The pasuk is saying, why is Hashem kova es koiveyim? Why does he rob the robber? Matam kova es koiveyim mishum denatlo nefesh, because he takes the life of the nigzal. He takes the life of the victim. Now, either way, we see it's a very serious business.
Is it only Jews workers or goyim?
We learned out from Achecha that it's only Jews. But if the person is a resident alien, that means he accepts the 7 Noahide laws, then it applies to him also. And according to some Rishonim, even if he doesn't accept the Noahide laws, but he just accepts not to worship idolatry, it applies to him. Yes?
So I have a couple of questions. First of all, if you owe somebody money, and he needs it to pay his bills, why should it make a difference if he's risking his life doing dangerous jobs for you? If you owe him the money because he needs
No. We said that you're over 5 lavin and 1 mitzvah saseh.
Right.
Why is it such a big deal? Why is it 5 lavin?
Why is the fact that he's doing something risky, what does it have to do with the fact that he needs the money?
It means that's how important it is for him. That's how urgent it is for him. If it wasn't so urgent, he wouldn't risk his life over it.
And the other question is, are you allowed to risk your life for Parnassa?
Yes.
You're allowed.
On that, we probably say Shomer P'soyim Hashem. No, it's
Kind of like my job.
well, if you're tired.
Pasuk for a small amount.
What?
Why do we need a special pasuk, a special limud for a little? Is stealing a little, stealing a lot?
This is where we learn out that there is l'shois, not just for a whole day. Now, Marshall, do you have Jews working in the shop? Marshall, you have Jews working in the shop?
I do.
Right? So if there's Schir Yom, this is very important. But you can make an arrangement with them. That's what we learned. That's what we learned, that if for example, we said that the people that work in the shuk know they're not going to get paid until the market day. Right? So
My guys know they're never going to get paid. It's a good deal.
well, first of all, do your guys ask for the money?
Of course not. They just come and take it. It's easier. No,
But
mine are on salary, so they get paid weekly anyways. It's automatic.
oh, it's automatic. So then you don't have a problem.
Right.
That's a safeguard. But this is the scary thing about babysitters. You got to pay a babysitter on time. Now, if she doesn't ask for the money, then you're off the hook. But if she asks for the money and you say, I don't have it now, and then you go and you don't pay her, that's a serious business. No, paying tuition is different. The paying tuition, you're paying it to a school.
It's not just babysitters. I do appliance repairs, central air conditioning repairs, day in and day out. Tati's sitting and learning the whole day. The mommy doesn't have the checkbook. Oh, I need to get paid right now. What's that? You need to invoke all the time.
Well, one thing I'll tell you is that you want to be careful not to invoke it. You want to be more careful to be meichel, because you don't want people dying on you. I mean, it's a serious business.
Yeah, but it's a chiddush that they need to pay me when I'm done with the repair.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Today we're living in a time where people just don't pay. It's a new thing. It's a new thing. You know, my daughter was telling me that her son, who's only 14 years old, one of my grandchildren, plays keyboard by mitzvahs. He's a talented kid, and they don't want him to get into it because they want him to be learning, but he plays sometimes keyboard by mitzvahs. He knows all the songs, and he could play a whole medley and everything. And they tell him they'll pay him, and then they don't pay him. They just don't pay him. And my daughter says, Tati, my son doesn't understand.
They're lucky. They could take him to court. A minor not allowed to take advantage. That's a law.
Well, welcome to the world of life.
They know that in court they believe the minor.
Well, nobody's going to the Arkay Shalak. Nobody's going to court. Yeah.
In halacha, though, it comes out that stealing is less problematic than withholding wages, a lot less.
Well, 5 lavin and 1 asay. Actually, it's 4, but even so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, it's really tantamount to the same thing.
It's not tantamount to the same thing. Because if I come in your house and I steal your vase, you don't live on your vase. It's not tantamount. It would be tantamount maybe if I come in and I break in and I steal your safe.
Okay,
but generally Gazlanis is not that way. You're right. In one case it would be more. In one case.
How would workers' collection agency? They're getting percentage.
Collection agency is again different. It's complicated because we learned yesterday that as soon as you delegate it to someone else to do the hiring, then you're not chayav anymore. You were here yesterday?
No.
Yeah. So you missed. Yeah. Okay. Weak excuse. I know people that listen while they're on the road.
Rabbi, when it comes to musicians, they need to collect up front.
What?
I have a client who's a musician. You have to collect up front, otherwise you get to the chasana or something, and they say, I'm not, go to this one, and they don't get paid.
Yeah, well, it's a problem,
That's why they need to be paid up front.
I've never had a situation.
That's why they get fed.
Professional.
All right, you know what, Rabbi said we're getting sidetracked. Now,
Who started it?
says the Gemara. Well, you know something, Marshall? I could do whatever I want over here. Now,
Guys understand Yiddish.
this is.
Guys, you understand Yiddish? Je pakt de gemozen met die zaken.
Yeah.
I went through a lot.
Okay.
Guys are honest.
Customers.
Guys are honest. No matter what, he gets you.
Tanu Rabbanan.
Okay, Masha?
Tanu Rabbanan. Laisalin Pula Sacher. No, excuse me, let me just start. Emasai Bisman Shetavu. It's only when, as I just told Baruch Ian, as I just told you, only if the employee asks for it. Loi tavu, if he doesn't ask for it, ain't no over alav. Tan Rabbanan, loi salin pula sachir. you should not leave it over until the morning. Yachal afilu lo tavu, I might think, even if he doesn't ask for it, Talmud Leimer itcha. Itcha means lidatcha, with your knowledge, with your consent. That means that he asked you and you don't give it to him. Yachal afilu ein loi, I might think that if the employer doesn't have the money, he's still over. Talmud Leimer, it says in the pasuk, itcha sheyesh itcha. It's only if you have it. I might think you're over even if you assign him to a storekeeper to give him goods, or to a money changer. Talmud Leimer itcha, only if he's dealing directly with you. Not if you directed him to a grocer or to a money changer. Now here we're going to learn over here that if Yisrael is doing work for me, we made an arrangement and he agreed to the arrangement that he'll accept goods from the grocer or he'll accept money from the money changer. This was an arrangement that was agreed upon. So now let's mute people. Now, says the Gemara, if I directed him to the grocer and the money changer, and they don't give it to him on time, then I'm not over. Even though he agreed that he is going to go to the grocer, if the grocer is not paying him the goods, or the money changer is not giving him the money, can he come back to me or not? Rav Sheshes Amar Eina Chayzer, he can't come back to me. Rabba Amar Chayzer, Rabba says he can't come back. Amar Rabba Minani Mila. How do we know that if Yisrael is not getting the money from the grocer, the goods from the grocer, he could come back to me? Midiktani Eina Oiver Olav. It says that I'm not over, but Mavu Delay over. I'm not over an Isser. But if he's not getting paid from the grocer, he's not getting paid from the money changer, he could come back to me and say, look, Rabbi Weiss, I work for you, I want the money. Rav Sheshes says, no, once he agreed to get it from the grocer, he has to go after the grocer. He got to leave me alone. And my ain't over, ain't a b'toyrus lava. There's nothing to be over here. Now Yisrael has to deal with the grocer. And Yisrael, you shouldn't have agreed to it. Now, by me name Rav Sheshes. Kablonis. Let's say I give Yisrael a job. I tell him I want a chess table. And I tell him that if you make me a chess table, I'll pay you $500. So he finishes, is there a lav of loisalin if I don't pay him? So kablonis over alav mishum baltalin or ain't over alav mishum baltalin. Now, why shouldn't I be over? He did the job. So the question is over here, I give him the wood, and I tell him, look, fashion out of this wood a very nice chess table. Do we say that when Yisrael makes the chess table, he acquires the chess table because he acquires it by the improvement that he makes. And therefore, it's like I'm buying it from him. And the money I owe him is a loan. I'm buying it, and I owe him the money. I owe you the money. On owing you the money, there's no loisalim pula sacher itcha. So the Gemara says, the question is, is it that when he makes me the chess table, he acquires it because he's making an improvement, and then v'halvohi, then it's just that I owe him the money. He doesn't acquire it, and therefore he's my laborer. He's my worker, and then when he finishes, I have to pay him by the end of that day that he finishes. Amalu Rav Sheshes over. Rav Sheshes says he's over. I, Vatanya, ain't over. It says in the Brisa that he's not over. Says, well, no, over there it's talking about where I told him to go to the grocer and get the money from the grocer. Since I sent him to the grocer or the money changer, that's why I'm not over. So the Gemara says, name of Messiah, let's bring a proof. In this case, I gave a cloak to Yisrael, and I tell him I want him to make it nice. I want him to make it nice. Gomra, when he finishes it, Vahidiyai, and he lets me know, Rabbi Weiss, it's finished. Afilu mekan v'adasar yamim, even 10 days, ein over mishum bal talan. But why? Because he didn't deliver it to me. So until I get the talis back, it's not going to be a loy salan. But if he delivers it to me at noon, I better pay him by the night. Mishashakalav chama over mishum bal talan. But if you say that he acquires it with the improvement, so then there shouldn't be loy salan, because if he acquires it, then I'm buying it back from him, and then the money is a loan. Am I over? Says the Gemara, no, here is where I hired him to comb the garment. To comb the garment, to soften it. It's a garment that needs teaseling, and it softens it. So there's no improvement that he should acquire the garment. Amar Amari Breder Rav Kahana, Bigarda de Sabala. It's talking about where he's teaseling the cloak, he's combing the cloak. So therefore there's no improvement. Says, well, what do you mean there's no improvement? Why did I give it to him to teasel it? In order to soften it. By softening the garment, he's improving it. I gave it to him to soften it. So hainu shivche. So then the same question arises. If you say he acquires it, then there shouldn't be any loy salan, because then he acquires it and I have to buy it from him, and then it's just a loan where there's no loy salan. Says the Gemara, like tzricha, you know what it's talking about? The ka'agre minei lebetushe. I hire Yisrael to pound the garment. Now, pounding the garment is an earlier stage before teaseling it. And they pound it in order that the weave should get closer in. Now, Rashi says the pounding it doesn't always improve the garment. But I'm hiring him and I pay him $1 per pounding. So there, he's only clearly a hired laborer. He's not acquiring it because, like Rashi says, it might not improve. So there, I'm paying him bitcha b'masa for each pound, each banging a ma. So there, whether he improves it or not, so there he's clearly a hired laborer. So there, as soon as he delivers it, I have to pay him. If not, there's going to be a lob of loy salan. The Gemara never resolves the question about what's the din with a kablan. Now here's another halacha. The halacha is, if I don't know why I can't see Yisrael. Are you hiding from me, Yisrael? Oh, he's playing hide and go seek. Okay, it's okay.
There's only one Mariv, so I've got to leave soon.
Oh, there's only one Mariv at 10 o'clock.
9:45.
9? They switched it on me?
It's at the yeshiva.
Oh, that wasn't at 10 o'clock last time?
Not at the yeshiva. Yeshiva is up just for the Zman, I think.
Okay. So anyway, how far does it go to get there?
It's like 0.2 miles, real close.
Oh, okay. So we have time yet. But you're going to miss the chumash. That's bad.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's bad.
I'll have to come back.
Okay. You could come on in the middle. Now, Socher bizmanai nishba v'noitel. The din is that if, let's say Yisrael finishes in the morning, he was a night worker, finished in the morning, I have to pay him by night. If in middle of the day he comes and says that I didn't get paid yet, and I say I paid him, the din is that he swears and he collects. Now that's different than all normal shvuos. All normal shvuos is that you swear and you don't pay. But here we say that if he asks me within the period of when he's supposed to be paid, and he says he wasn't paid, so the din is he swears and he collects. So now the Gemara examines why that should be. Socher bismanoi, a hired worker during the period, during the 12 hours that he's supposed to get paid. If I say I paid him and he said he didn't get paid yet, nishba v'noitel, he swears and he collects. So says the Gemara, Socher amai tekinu le rabbanon lemishtava v'shakel. An employee, why did they make an exception and say that he could swear and collect? After all, normally the din is nishba ve'ein mishalmim. You swear and you don't pay. So I'm Rabbi Yehuda Mishmul, halachas gedolus shanu kan. We're learning big halachas over here. Says Gemara, this is not halacha, this is a takana. Hani hilchas inino, this is not a law. Hani takanas inino. We'll see this is a takana for the benefit of the worker. El Am Rabbi Yehuda Mishmul, takanas gedolus shanu kan. It's a big takana that we're learning over here. Gedolus, it's a big takana. Michlal de'ika katanas. Does that mean that there are other takanas that are small? I mean, we learned in just today in the Mishnah Yomis, right? That there were takanas that were made, right? All kinds of takanas that you have to write the name of the witnesses on the get, and that we don't allow the husband to be mavatal to get in front of a bezdin. So what? There aren't small takanas; they're all important. Al-Amr says, Al-Amr of Nachman Mishmul, takanas kfuas shanukan. We have fixed enactments over here. Shvua de balabayasi. Really, I should swear and say that I paid him already, and he can't get paid, because that's the din normally. Nishban ve'ein misham. But v'akru rabbanan l'shvua de balabayis. The Rabbanan uprooted the shvua from the employer, v'shadyua asacher, and put it on the employee, on Yisrael, mishum kedei chayiv desacher, because it's his livelihood. Says Gemara, because mishum kedei chayiv desacher, because it's Yisrael's livelihood. Mafsadno leila balabayis, I should lose. The din normally is nishban ve'ena mishalman, that we swear and you don't have to pay. Says the Gemara, well, balabayis gufa nichalei de mishtava sacher v'shakel. I, the employer, am happy that Yisrael should be able to swear and collect, because otherwise I won't get people to work for me. Ki eichi de l'skur le'poyelim. In order that I should be able to get workers. So it says, maybe it's the other way around. Yisrael is happy that I should be able to swear v'yifka and get out of it in order that I should hire people. Otherwise, I won't hire people. In order that I should hire people. So the Gemara says, well, balabayis al koche agar, I have to hire people because I need people to do my work. So it says the Gemara, Sacher nami bal karche yitkar. The worker also has to get himself hired because he has to make a living. Ella, says the Gemara, here's the real deal. The real deal, the bottom line, is that the reason why we take it away from the employer and we give it to the employee is because the employer has a lot of workers. And therefore he's busy with a lot of workers. He might have got confused and think he paid somebody else and thinks he paid this one. He might get confused. Therefore, the employee knows whether he got paid or not. So therefore, El Balabayis Torid B'Payalimu. He's busy with a bunch of workers. So the Gemara says, so then why do we necessitate a shvuah? Give it to Yisrael without a shvuah. Give it to him without an oath. Says the Gemara, no, we want to appease the employer. The employer doesn't want to think he's being taken advantage of. It's in order to appease the employer. So the Gemara says, so then in order that we shouldn't have a problem, why don't we insist, why don't we insist that Yisrael should get paid in front of witnesses? We should enact this, that payday should be in front of witnesses. V'neisav le'be'edim, says the Gemara, no, that's too difficult. That's too difficult. If it's going to have to be every day, he's going to have to get witnesses. You wouldn't be able to run the business that way. Trichlu milsa, it's hard to get witnesses. Says the Gemara, v'neisav le'me'ikara. So then why doesn't he give the money to him in the beginning? Says the Gemara, Shneim roitzim ba'kafa. Both of them want to get paid on credit. In other words, both of them want to get paid at the end. The worker wants to get paid at the end because he doesn't want to carry the cash around the whole day while he's working. He might lose the money. And the employer wants to have the day in order to make the money. So then the Gemara says, Ihaki afilu kotzatz nami. Even if this is the reason that the balabayas is torrid, right? If that's the reason, because he's preoccupied, then it should be true even if there's a disagreement about the amount. Ihachi, says the Gemara, afilu kotzatz nami. Even if there's a disagreement about the amount, we should say that we should allow the employee to swear. Allah matanya if Yisrael says you made up to pay me, $2,000, and I say I only paid $1,000, I only promised to pay you $1,000. Then Yisrael has to bring proof. If he can't bring proof, I only have to pay him $1,000. Says, no, that's different. I remember the amount I made up. People remember what they made up. Says the Gemara, but we said that the only time Yisrael is believed to make a shvur that he wasn't paid is within the 12 hours. But if he claims after the 12 hours, in other words, if he finished working at the end of the night, that he has to be paid by sunset, if after sunset he first says he wasn't paid, then we don't believe him with a shvur. But why not? Why don't we say the Balabayas is busy? Even if it's past the 12 hours. If it's past the 12 hours, and Yisrael first comes and asks me to get paid, and I said I paid him already, and he says no, then ain't a nishba v'natal. Then he can't swear and get paid, because a chazaka, there's a presumptive status that ain't balabayis over mishum baltalin. I won't risk being over on all of these lav. Says the Gemara, Aiva Amrit balabayis torrid b'poyelov, but we said that I'm busy with my workers. Says the Gemara, I'm busy with my workers might be that I got mixed up during the time. But by the end of the day, I make sure to pay my workers. Ani mili mikameid the limte is man kiyuve. That's only before it's the time. Avamata's man kiyuve, but once it's the time at shkia, rami nafshi umidkar, I make sure that I check off and I paid everybody. Says the Gemara, but wait a second. Why isn't there a chazaka that Yisrael's not going to be over on loy sigzel? I mean, he says that I didn't pay him. If I paid him already, and he says I didn't pay him, he's stealing from me. So you say that there's a chazaka that I'm not going to be over loy sullen, but there's also a chazaka that he's not going to be over stealing from me. I mean, I know Yisrael Fisher hid behind his picture over there, but the bottom line is he also has a chazaka not to be over on Baal Tigzel. Says the Gemara, Hasam Trei Chazake. In my case, I have two chazakas. Hacha chada chazaka. Yisrael only has one chazaka. This is talking about already after the time. Gabi balabayas he could trei chazaka. Why? Chada Dein Balabais over Mishum Baltolim. The Balabais is not going to be over not paying on time. The Chada, and the second one is that normally a worker doesn't wait until after the time to ask for the money. So it's more likely that I paid him. Why is he coming after the time? The Chada Dein Sacher Ma'ashes Schorai. A worker doesn't wait to ask for after the time. Yisrael has only one chazaka of Sigzel that he would be over on stealing by saying that he wasn't paid when he was really paid. So it's two chazakas against one chazaka. So after the time, I don't have to pay him. Yisrael is not believed to swear and get paid. We're going to stop here now, Rabbi Isai. No, we're not going to the Mishnah. We're going to stop here, and we will now have a delicious chumash here.
Question on the last piece, if it's time to do it.
You could ask while I'm doing this, yeah.
Okay, so the worker, one of the Havamins was that the worker should get paid before the job, so he doesn't have the problem after.
Right.
And the answer to that didn't make any sense, because my thought that if the worker gets paid before he does the job, he'll just take off because he's already got his money.
Well, that's true, but he won't get another job by anybody else then.